Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Northern Spotlights here at the Vancouver Aquarium, the talk show that takes us north. Joining me today, and by the way, my name is Keely. I am your host, and joining me today is Jenna, one of the beluga trainers here at the Vancouver Aquarium. Thank you very much for joining us, Jenna. How are you doing today?
Yeah, great. Thank you so much for having me.
We're excited to have you here in the metropolis of Vancouver. After all, Jenna is joining us from a very small town of only about 300 people.
Yes.
And we actually have more staff than that here at the Vancouver Aquarium. So definitely a new kind of environment. So I'm wondering, Jenna, how does it, you got to be here in the first place? How long have you even worked at the aquarium?
I've worked here for almost 3 years, and yes, I'm from a very, very small town in Ontario, and I moved to Vancouver just to be here, a part of the Vancouver Aquarium team.
So it sounds like you really wanted to be here. Have you always, and again, you are a trainer, have you always wanted to be a trainer since you were pretty little?
Always. My whole entire life, I've always wanted to be a marine mammal trainer. I always grew up with dogs. I always loved animals. I would go on family vacations every year, go to different zoos and aquariums all across North America, and I just absolutely fell in love with animals, with aquariums, with the passion, and I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to dedicate my entire life to that. Well, but certainly it's one thing to want to do it and then another to actually do it. So how did you make that happen for yourself? I started in university. I have a degree in psychology, and that might surprise most people. But the degree in psychology could definitely help you get into that field. Also a degree in marine biology, science, or even zoology. So after university, I started volunteering at a dog training facility, and then I got scuba certified, which is very important. And then I applied for a number of internships, and I actually did 3 different internships before being hired here at the Vancouver Aquarium.
Wow, that's impressive. So what sort of things did you learn during your internships?
So we learned all about positive reinforcement, which is how we train. Basically, we reward the behaviors that we want, and we just simply ignore the behaviors that we don't want.
Just simply?
Just simply.
Oh, okay.
Lots of cleaning. Lots of cleaning.
Oh, that sounds exciting.
Fish house. So we learned how to prepare diets, administer vitamins. Again, lots of cleaning, very messy work. And then we assisted trainers. We shadowed lots of training sessions. So you basically learn little bits and pieces of everything that it takes to become a trainer.
All right, so was it all with one animal that you learned how to do these things, or did you work with multiple sorts of animals?
In my first 2 internships, I worked with a California sea lion, and I worked with bottlenose dolphins. And at my last internship, which was here, I worked with Pacific white-sided dolphins, harbor seals, African penguins, and harbor porpoises.
All right, but you did mention eventually you did get hired here. So which are the animals? Do you work with all those animals now, or you have a particular team you work on?
So I was a dolphin seal intern, but I was actually hired on the beluga sea otter team, so completely different.
Yes, a little bit different indeed. But I imagine still pretty exciting to work with these different animals. And especially working with the belugas, I imagine I've heard you guys speak about it before, that a pretty important aspect of training is building up a relationship with your animals. So how did you manage to build a relationship with the belugas here on site?
Yes, absolutely. I actually had no idea before being a trainer how important a relationship was, but definitely extremely important to develop that trusting relationship. So we start just by food, so we can kind of compare it to ourselves.
Works for me too.
If every time I saw you brought me pasta or pizza, I would want to hang out with you more. So we start just by feeding the animals and spending lots and lots of time with them. And very quickly you will learn that food is not the only things that the animals seem to want at that particular time. Sometimes you go out ready for a training session with a whole bucket of food, and they just want rubs, or they just want toys, or they just want to interact with you in the water. If you have a look at that picture, that's my fellow trainer Kristen and I doing a water play. So just giving them lots of toys and positive attention and just spending lots of time with them. So definitely starting out with food, but you quickly learn their different characteristics and different things that they want at different times.
That certainly sounds like it's rather rewarding for you as well.
Absolutely.
And then once you've started to build up that relationship and get into a solid sort of rhythm, what does a day of a trainer look like?
So like I said, lots of cleaning, and then training and enrichment. And we just kind of rotate throughout those things. Our day starts pretty early, starts in the fish house, sorting through all the fish, preparing animal diets, and then we start our training sessions. During our training sessions, we train, of course, for healthcare, for mental stimulation, and physical exercise. So during our training sessions, we can choose behaviors to work on that fall into one of those three categories, or we can work on behaviors that fall into all of those three categories. So lots of training sessions. We go from belugas straight to otters. Now, of course, the belugas and porpoises are together. So we just kind of rotate our training sessions. After we're done training sessions, enrichment or playtime, that is extremely important as well. And like I said, more cleaning. So we are in charge of cleaning the animals' exhibits. So power washing the sea otter exhibits every single week, and then also scuba diving in order to clean the dolphin habitats. The beluga habitats is also very, very important.
I've seen you geared up for cleaning the
Yes.
otters. She looks very glamorous at that time. Fully decked out in water, just covered in all kinds of water and waterproof gear to help you do that.
Very important waterproof gear.
But you mentioned training for different sorts of behaviors. So you mentioned a healthcare husbandry behavior. What's that?
Those are actually my favorite behaviors. Voluntary blood samples, urine samples, ultrasounds, blowhole swabs, fecal samples. So these are the types of behaviors that require an extremely strong relationship. In order to ask a beluga for a voluntary blood sample, we ask them to roll over on their backs. We ask them to swim away from us and present their tail flukes to us. So they can't see us very well, they're holding their breath, they're upside down, so definitely a very trusting position to be in order to do those behaviors.
I have to say, I've taken my cat to the vet, and he does not willingly give a paw to his vet. So you can get a voluntary blood sample from a 900-kilogram animal. That's
Yes.
a good relationship. So that's healthcare. What sort of behaviors do you do for to give them their exercise?
Yeah, so physical exercise behaviors, lots of high energy behaviors, the leaps, the back breaches, the speed swims, and then mental stimulation, combination behaviors, vocalizations, and then constantly training new and different types of behaviors.
So they're always learning something new.
Always. Yeah.
So then you've trained some new behaviors, yes? So how do you go through the process of training a newer behavior?
So we use tools to shape the different behaviors that we would like, and targeting is actually a really good tool that we use to shape different behaviors. So a target is just a point of reference for the animal to touch or to go to. So our hands can act like a target. We can simply hold our hand out and ask the animal to touch
Do I get pasta now?
Yes, good job. So our hands act as, I can ask for the rostrum to touch my hand, or a peck. I can ask to bring a peck to my hand. So one behavior that I trained was a fluke raise behavior.
Okay.
So I wanted to give the audience a great perspective of a beluga's tail fluke. So what I did was ask for a husbandry behavior first, which was a dorsal or back present, and then I just simply held my hand over top of the water, asking Keela to raise up her flukes and target her flukes on my hand. Eventually, she learned that pretty quickly, and then I just added a hand signal onto that, and
there you have it.
there you have it.
You have a shaped behavior.
Yeah, so targeting is a really good tool to shape lots of different types of behaviors.
All right, excellent. And so you used it for that tail up behavior. Would you classify that as a behavior that keeps them mentally active?
Yeah, I actually just finished training it, and it took a few months to train, so definitely mentally stimulating in that sense. And also, a good behavior for physical exercise, because the first few weeks I was training it, I found out that when she did raise her flukes, she became a little bit off balance. So she really had to develop those muscles around her body in order to be able to hold up her flukes for a few seconds at a time. So
All right, cool. And certainly this really comes in handy for training behaviors associated with research as well. So I know that the belugas have participated in a number of research projects. In fact, as an earlier rendition of our Northern Spotlights program, we had another, actually one of your colleagues, Anna, came on and talked a little bit about some of the research that the belugas are currently involved in. So you've helped out with that research.
Yes.
And certainly we're here at the Vancouver Aquarium. We certainly strive to continue learning more about this species who is so important to Canada's Arctic. So I'm sure that there's some more research that you've been working on as well?
Yes, lots more exciting stuff happening in the next few months.
For sure. It is always exciting to watch one of the training sessions that happens here at the aquarium, particularly because so often we are able to see that training, rather that research in action that helps us better understand this species. It's certainly an animal we don't come across very often. Had you seen them before you came here?
Never, no.
So exactly, it's a great opportunity to learn more, and certainly trainers like Jenna allow us to do so much, as well as the researchers that are here. In fact, if you'd like to hear a little bit more about some of the research that we've done, you can check out our website, or even hear from a few of the researchers themselves as part of other Northern Spotlights programs. So if you take a look at the Vancouver Aquarium YouTube channel, you can take a look out for more information on those. But otherwise, Jenna, from a town of 300, now trainer of Vancouver Aquarium. We're very happy to have you here with us today, so thanks for coming on by.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you everyone here for joining us, and everyone online as well, and again joining us for Northern Spotlights. Have a fantastic rest of your afternoon. We hope to see you again soon.